Hello everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to a brand new episode of the MSA podcast. My name is Lim Batha, and I'm going to be your host for the day. First of all, we would like to thank you all for the support you've shown on our first episode. We were extremely happy to see that you guys enjoyed it. And always remember that we are completely open for any recommendations that you might have regarding our guests, topics, or anything that you would like to let us know about. So feel free to reach us on the email that will be found in the description box of this episode. Now moving on, today is all about arts. Art is an expression of numerous forms of human fascinating creations. Lots of things can fall under the word art, where it almost seems limitless. Today we are going to tackle different aspects of it, know more about it and about its effect on human life. It is something that we encounter almost every day in different shapes and forms, but do we really understand it? In order for us to learn more about this and get exposed to this art language, we are joined by the one and only Hadeel Alhemsi. Hadeel is a colleague in our College of Medicine. She got into art at a really young age and managed to become a very involved, self-taught artist. She put so much effort and commitment into what she loves and carried it through the years. She is known for her great ability to express her characteristics and personality, even emotions, in the form of art. And she's here today to tell us all about that and more. So, Assalamu alaikum, Hadeel.
Walaikum salam. Such a cute intro. I can't get over it.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate your time.
Man, I'm honored. Just let me tell you that. I'm so happy.
We're so happy too. Taib, Hadeel. So, as I was just saying, art is a very general term, right? Lots of things can fall under it. Just depends on how you see it and what you appreciate in it, right? And just very general. So I want you to tell me from an artist's point of view, how would you define it?
Man, starting heavy.
Yes.
Well, from my point of view as well, it's just I would say that art is a way that a person utilizes either their view of the world or their emotions into a way that they could express it. It's a form of expression, I'd say. And a form of communication for those, well, which is what expression is. But yeah, that's how I'd see it. It's really hard to take all the forms of art and just define it because there's a lot of it, especially nowadays, that a lot of people tend to label what they're doing as artistic. So it's really hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. But for me, at least, it is a way to note or like, how do you say this?
Put together or something.
Yeah, like, but exactly. I call these moments brain farts, so excuse me for that.
That is fine.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that even you as an artist can't put restrictions on what the word means.
Exactly. It's really hard. Like, what I considered as artistic is not what you consider as art or art in general. A writer would consider writing art, and a photographer would consider photography art. Some people consider communications an art. So I'm like, Art of War is a known series of like advice given by a Chinese warlord, I think. I forgot his name, unfortunately. But yeah, it's there's everything could be artistic.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
It just like depends on what you see as art or what you interpret from like what you're seeing, basically, right? So yeah, that's a great answer. Okay, we know that you come from a very artistic family, especially your older brothers, right?
Oh, well, my older brother, my older sister, my younger brother.
Mashallah. So literally the whole family.
Yeah, you could say so. Like, I think it starts, I honestly don't know where it started from, but my dad likes to believe, and I think it's true, that it's his mother. I remember, like, he used to tell us about the stories of how when they came from Syria to Saudi and she used to like draw paintings of the kings, and I'm like, wow, you guys, yeah, it's insane.
It's amazing. So now that you're saying that, so I wanted to like go back to when you actually got into art. Now that you said that, it makes me feel that, the whole family is very artistic. I don't know, did you feel pressured to get into art, or was it just something spontaneous?
Not at all. Like, it was very spontaneous. Like, I didn't even know my dad used to draw different shapes and stuff until I, like, recently, when I started to get deep into this whole artistic thing. And it's just when you see other people draw, like when it's not a job, when it's not having people tell you from outside, like the external sources tell you, oh, you're forced to draw, or are you gonna be an artist like your brother, or are
The
you gonna be
legacy thing.
yeah. If they don't pressure you, I've noticed that in general in everything, if they don't pressure you, you get inspired by your family and you start want to be like that. But when you have people draw out your plan or your life for you, that's when you feel like the rebellion form or
Yes,
phase
like,
of a
no, I don't
human
wanna
being.
do
Like,
that.
no, I
I
don't
wanna
want to
be
be.
different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah.
So
no,
it was
I
more
wasn't-
of like you just grew up in that environment and you just felt the good sides of it, and you just, it impacted you in a good way, and it just made you become an artist just out of nowhere. Is that how would you say it? Or?
Probably. Here's the thing. Like, even though it was an artistic background, it wasn't like something that my siblings would do every day. Sometimes I'd see them do it. I'm like, how do you do that? Let me copy you in secret, kind of thing. But one of the things my brother used to do that he was also like, my dad would provide with sources that would aid in knowledge, right? He would be like always be inquisitive, always want to learn. And alhamdulillah, like both my parents were the kind of person that would influence me in that way, and that shaped my personality greatly. So take that, and along with my older brother, we have like a gap of 12 years. So he would, he was like he's my older brother, but he was always the kind of person to tell me, try this, do that, I want to see this. Or he would download, back in the days of the internet not being accessible, he would download, for example, things for me to watch, anime, for example, or cartoons like Avatar, The Last Airbender, when it was airing. So that was a very long time ago, on a CD, and he'd tell me, go watch it and stuff. And I would really enjoy it. So that helped a lot in building. Yeah.
So when would you say you actually started getting into art and started creating things? Like at what age?
When I first watched a show called Death Note, and I was so inspired, and I wanted to draw this character called L.
Okay.
And
so it was like an anime, or
yeah,
like
it's an anime. It's an anime.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very like, I like it. I still like it, but I could see why people would cringe at the idea that anime is like, oh my god, really anime. But
Do you?
I'm doing me.
It's art.
It's art. Yeah, I started at the age of 9. I was in 5th grade.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
That's really young. Was there a specific artist that you were looking at or leaning towards their work at that age? Like, did you get influenced by an artist?
Okay, it wasn't per se the artist of Death Note, and I always try to memorize names, but I'm really bad at that. His art is really cool. Aside from the anime is like they simplify the drawings and they make it easier for them to animate. But when you look at the actual artist doing the traditional work and the way he paints and the details, I got interested in what he was drawing, and I wanted to be like that. And then eventually, when I entered this website called DeviantArt, I also saw this artist called Yume. Yume was she was an activist, and she still is, about environmental activist, and I appreciated her art because I used to look up to her in that aspect. The reason why I said Death Note is because she used to do Death Note fan art, and that's how I managed to find her. So ever since until now, she's like one of the people I look up to.
So she did play a role in your your art, let's say, identity or something.
In a way.
Anyway, we're going to get into DeviantArt later on.
God.
I see you're passionate about it. So we're going to get to that, inshallah. Okay. Away from, arts that is anime art and cartoons and stuff that you basically have to copy. So away from all of that, I want to get into like the other forms of art. Let's say, it's very normal for us human beings to get inspiration from other people or like other things and stick to that. It's very normal. But in art in specific, if an artist copies or gets a lot of inspiration from like another artist to the point where their the art pieces become completely identical, do you think that still holds a value from your point of view as an artist?
We're getting into art thievery category.
Whatever you call it.
Okay, so no. Like, there are people who take the same art or trace it and then they claim it as theirs. But then if let's say the scenario you provided where someone actually tries to keep drawing the same characters, eventually, even if they look identical, there's something that'll be different, because no matter how much you try to train yourself, there's always going to be something that you would add or accentuate because you like it in this style. unless you're working for that artist where you have to make it consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, in the Japanese comic industry, which is for mangas, or anime, you actually don't have one person who keeps drawing and animating. It's actually a lot of people
I've seen
working
it.
together.
Documentary. It was like an office
A
full
whole
of
office
people. Yeah.
drawing. Can you imagine how consistent they can be? That's
Mhm.
very hard. But yeah, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say it loses value, because it's still, to that person who's drawing, it's still something they like.
So you still believe that just the execution part of it, the fact that they were able to draw that, is still valuable, even if it's like completely copied from something else.
Exactly.
Okay.
If you claim it as your own creation, though, and when you start going there and trying to get the attention for yourself, the intentions behind it that define the value, I'd say. If you're intending on getting attention by copying the person and saying this is your original work, no, I would actually find that very disrespectful, and actually like I wouldn't consider that valuable.
So you don't think the ability to come up with your own creations and just get into your own element and start coming up with things, you don't think that's the greatest part of the equation, where, you know, the execution part is the main thing?
I see.
You do see my point?
Yeah, I see it now. I wouldn't say it's the greatest, but it's one of the nicest, or for those who would like to go spiritually, the magical part of things. Like, you know, that's the secret recipe, is the process of you sitting and trying to think about ways and looking at things, and how do I kind of convey the message I want to convey in a very like unique sense. But that's not really the only thing art could be, really. You could still copy something, like if you appreciate how the cloud looks like right now. If you took a simple picture, that could be an art form. If you took it from...
So we go back to it. Art is limitless.
Art
right?
is limitless. Yeah.
So now I want to talk about your way of doing things, right? So you've been doing art for a really long time. Obviously, it took you so much practice and effort. It didn't just come like that. And obviously, like, you kept up, you know, with the work. And so I want to know, did you get to a point or a stage where you were just, you know, good with what you know, or good with what you have, and like the tools you currently use? Let's say, I don't know if there's like a certain website that you use, or like a certain, again, tool that you did you reach a level of satisfaction with what you use right now, or are you always like, you always have this urge to learn more and do more, even though you've been doing it for a really long time?
It goes back to everything. Like, you tell me, like, do you think that a person who feels like, who's doing a skill, would ever feel like they've reached the peak of it? As it is in human nature, it's very hard to feel satisfied with yourself, no matter how good you are at it. And I'm not saying that I'm great, but there's a lot of things that I it's one of the things where it's like you hide it from people so that they don't know that's your weakness, but also it's not something embarrassing to admit to.
Definitely.
There's a lot of things I don't know how to draw, and there's a lot of things I wish I knew how to do. The painting, the speed, I wish I would finish paintings much faster than I usually do. New materials always come up, and I'm like, ooh, I want to try that. Nowadays there's this thing called the oil crayon. So it's oil paint, but in a stick form. And I saw that on a YouTuber's channel. I'm like, I want. It's like, I'm not gonna use this, but I want to use it. I want to see how it is. So there's always, especially now with the art community changing and growing, and unique ways of you know, utilizing different tools.
So you're always keeping up with
yeah,
everything
it's
that
always
comes
like,
in.
oh,
There's always room for new things to come into your art creations.
So it's like,
that's really interesting. So like, you never get enough of like...
No.
Well,
I wish I had a break where it's like...
Honestly, mashallah. I've seen your artwork. It's amazing. I mean, just the fact that you even want to go more than that is amazing. Good for you. Well, Anjad, good for you. Okay, so saying that, and how, you know, you're about your skills and all of that, I'm pretty sure, you know, you're an artist, so akid your family and your friends, everyone asks you to do stuff. It definitely crosses your path every once in a while. Does it feel the same to when you create something out of pure emotions or like pure imagination? Can you even compare those two situations?
No way.
No way.
Well, it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm on MSA right now, and I love you guys and stuff, but like when MSA used to like tell me to do something, and they give me
anyway.
no shade, for real. No, this is how I truly feel. We're in a safe space right now.
It's normal. It's a normal thing. No.
Yeah. back in the day when I used to have these commissions by like the club, it's always like, oh, this is work kind of. And when you start having when your hobby turns to work, it's always hectic and you stop wanting to do it. But when you feel inspired by something, let's say you watch an episode of Breaking Bad, for example, and you're like, that's a cool scene, and you want to do that transition. Yeah, of course it feels nicer because like you're in that process and you want to be. It's not like I have to do this for this reason. Sometimes though, when it's a request, let's say a birthday present, or if it's like a gift for my little niece or something like that, I would obviously feel joy doing it.
That's so sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just mentioned that you also get you were watching Breaking Bad and you just get an inspiration to draw something.
That show.
So that's also where you get your inspiration. So it's not limited to like an anime or like an artist. It's just literally anything that you see, you get inspiration.
Talking to patients sometimes is
wow.
Yeah. It's always like this one scene. Like you always imagine in your head this patient. For example, yesterday I saw a patient. Her scarf color was beautiful, and I was like, should I tell her that or should I just leave it until she's better? You know, like, but every opportunity, like you see something very nice, and people sometimes it's just when you see interesting people, you start want to be interesting to yourself. You start wanting to know more about them, and because of that, I don't know what it does to my limbic system, but it kind of makes me inspired and muse, if you will. Like it gives me a drive to be creative.
That's a real artist.
I guess so.
I wanted to ask you, like, what goes on in your head when you draw? You just basically, you said it all. It's just a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of things. It's either the way the light reflects on a certain like texture, a metal, a color, a group of colors. Like I don't know why recently, but pink is very attractive. I used to hate pink when I was a kid, but I don't know what happens in your brain, right? When you realize colors kind of make you feel certain emotions, you're like, why? And you start questioning about, is it because I was taught red is for love or red is for hunger or appetite, and now I associate it every time I look at it? Or is it because red is always the color that like alerts you, so now it's associated with danger? It's very interesting when you look at these things.
Is it like a burden that do you feel that it's a burden when you like have to overthink and analyze what every color you see, every scenery you go through?
Yeah. Sometimes it's like people's personalities and the way they move, the way they behave. I notice these micro expressions on their faces that I shouldn't notice, because once I notice that, it's like, they're uncomfortable, are they? But why? And I start thinking about them, thinking it's me, and it kind of leads to a very like form of overthinking.
So it puts a pressure on you to even have this.
The hypersensitivity about it is very. There's a price for everything, I'd say.
Of course. We noticed that sometimes you go to a gallery, for example, or you go to I don't know, like an event where it has like different artists' creations and stuff, and you just walk by and you see a piece and you know exactly who that piece is from, and you know exactly who drew it without even reading the name. Do you think it's necessary for an artist to have that thing where like it's an identity, they only stick by it, they draw in a certain way so that everyone knows it's their work? Or is that a thing, or is that a thing for an artist, or do you have to stick by that identity thingy?
It's a lot of people actually struggle with this, and it's style. It's like, oh, my art style. Is it my art style that it's like, how do I, like, just Google it. And now whoever's listening, Google it. Just how do I develop my art style? There's a lot of questions on that. There's a lot of YouTube videos on that. And it's like, I don't know why people feel the pressure to do that. I sometimes feel the pressure because it's nice. It's nice when...
Is it my identity to draw something like that? Does it define me?
Yeah. And I felt that too, and I still do. I can't tell you that I'm not like that, even though I think we should not conform ourselves to that thing. But eventually, even when you're being unintentional about that style or about the way you do things or express, if you'll develop that. It's like, it goes back to what you told me about the person copying artwork, and it's like, even if they're doing it out of habit, there's always something you notice, even with the slights, the way they streak, instead of being a swift line, it's always little squibbles, right? it talks about the personality. That's why you have like yeah.
So you don't think it's a necessity to have like an identity that you have to stick by, but you think it's natural, it comes naturally that each artist would have their own signature type of thing. Not even if they don't, stick by it, religiously, but it is a thing at the end of the day.
Eventually, a person will develop a style. But I guess to a lot of people, to myself included, at some point, having a style is quite a necessity. It's like you want to be known.
Okay.
Being famous, fame and fortune is always on a man's mind, unfortunately, until they realize it's not important.
I agree. Yeah, that's really interesting. Your point of view on that. Hadeel, you're also a writer. It's very obvious that writing triggers triggers a spot where you get into your own element and you start creating things out of like pure emotion and even the imagination that you have to be able to write and compose things. So to me, I think writing is just another form of art. What do you think of that?
It is.
How did that affect you with like a whole art thing?
The whole art thing. So I have a problem describing how I see things, right? Or how something happens. So I tend to draw that. But I have an issue saying how I feel. So writing was the easiest way to express it. I don't know how I struggle with words when they're out of my mouth, but like when I start writing, all my feelings it feels good. It feels good finally being able to communicate, even though people won't understand what you're saying. Sometimes certain poems are just a blabber of words. And yeah, I would say that writing is a form of art. I would also say that it helps a person of course, if writing wasn't fun, if writing wasn't a form of art, people wouldn't be reading. They wouldn't be addicted to reading either. Yeah.
Did you start writing before start drawing, actually, or is it the opposite?
It's the opposite. I'm not really that great of a writer, but sometimes I do like writing poetry. I like writing how I feel in a very poetic manner. Unfortunately, to certain people, that over dramatic moments, like it's like, look at the colors of the sky, But other than that,
so was it because you were just obviously, again, we go back to the fact that you're an artist. You definitely get triggered with a lot of emotions and a lot of things that you just want to express. Is it because drawing was not completely doing it for you? You needed another form of expression, so you got into writing?
Yeah, that maybe that's maybe you see, this is probably a therapy session here. It's like, I never understood why writing sometimes was easier, sometimes it's not, but drawing requires a certain skill asset and knowing, I'm, especially for me, a person who was very kind of picky about my tendencies of drawing this properly or not. And it's very hard to kind of express yourself in it, and that caused me a form of frustrations, you get very, very agitated, why can't I do this, why can't I want to express how I feel but I can't. And then you just grab your phone, for example, or a pen, and just scribble a word, but in a different way. Typography, maybe, I guess, calligraphy, I don't know, but if you do that, it does help.
So it helped you balance your expression between art and also writing for another purpose. Do you share anything you write? Do you ever do that?
I did, yeah.
You do?
I like sharing, because I feel like I like sharing because I want to communicate, and it's very hard for me to speak, and I like to listen to people more, contrary to now where I'm speaking more than I'm listening. But I do share a lot to my friends, to my family.
You like to get it across, basically.
I like, yeah. Thank you.
It's interesting. I want to talk a little bit about the art community, which is something you're obviously involved in. Do you think that art is becoming a trend luxury nowadays?
Yeah. I
elaborate.
Okay. Okay. So let's go back a little bit, right? For people who are busy focusing about their life, and all they think about right now is how do I get the money, how do like I feel like how do I put the bread in my children's mouth or in my family. Sometimes the parents are not there and the older brother or the siblings have to take care of each other, or the mother. It's a whole lot of dangerous world out there, right? So to these people, I think that drawing something comes like at the bottom of the list of priorities, or not just drawing, but like being artistic.
Like it's a thing. Like okay,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone is artistic out there. I have to get to, in order for me to get to that certain place, I have to be an artist and all of that. I mean, do you see it a lot right now where people are not really maybe into art, or maybe not enjoying it, but they just see it as a luxury, like or a trend basically. Like
that I do not know. I don't think so. It's very hard for a person who's not interested to art to actually force themselves to keep doing it.
Do you believe in such I don't know, a thing called or the term unattractive for a piece of work? And what I mean is just like it's not perceived as meaningful. So that's what I was talking about. Everything has to be meaningful
to be artistic?
Just a piece of work. Let's say again, can you call a piece of work unattractive because you didn't perceive it as meaningful, or you didn't get that spark because
well, it's up to
just
the
from your
person,
point of view. Yes.
right? Like you go to an art museum and you look at certain artists and you're like, well, what are they doing? Like how do you feel? Like some drawings you're like, wow. Some things are like, okay, it's just a splatter of paint, or it's just a face. But to someone else, look at the expression. The Mona Lisa. I love Leonardo da Vinci, okay? I love his art. I respect the guy. I don't know how crazy he is. He might be crazy, okay? I've never met him. He's dead. But I don't get why people like the Mona Lisa. I'm like, it's a woman. She's smiling, not smiling, looking at you whenever you're going. Come on. Like, but someone else could look at the same thing and pay fortunes to go to the Louvre. I don't know how you say that. That's
I don't know either.
And they would just want to take a picture of it on their phone. And just look at it and go like, wow.
So it's all a matter of how you see it.
It's a subjective. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Right?
So that's amazing. Couldn't say it better. Yeah. Really. So again, people don't always perceive the right image of what is being, drawn or something like that. Let's say you just get into your element one day and you just draw something that is hard to understand, something that only you would be able to understand and elaborate on, and while you're doing it, that people are not going to understand this. Do you ever feel pressured by that, or do you like to keep it mysterious?
No, I like keeping it mysterious. Okay. Sometimes it's like I wish that someone it's like back in the day when I was young, right? Yeah. I would think that I'm being cool by adding these symbolism and Easter eggs, and like, if you know what this means in Latin, you know what this is.
Hidden message.
Yeah, and hoping that someone find it. Like how people who read, let's say, a big series, Harry Potter's, Game of Thrones, they find these little connections and they're like, oh, you know what they said, the prophecy. And so I used to imagine myself as that kind of person, as if I'm like the famous whatever, but it's cute when I look back at it. Sometimes I do that deliberately now just because like it's for fun. It's for me to look back as like, I remember drawing that because that symbolizes this and that and that and that.
And do you like it when people like try to interpret your work? Like, Hadeel, I just saw this, I think it means this and that. Do you like it when they try to interpret it, or do you just...
I mean, I think it's cute. Okay. And I appreciate it like a lot. I love it when people sometimes people interpret a very deeper meaning than what I intend.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah, and I'm like, huh, okay, I'll keep it that. I'm not gonna destroy it for you.
The door is just the door.
Yeah. Like I think even we have it in Arabic poetry. المعنى في قلب الشاعر. It's like if you ask the poet what he really meant, it will lose the power or the beauty of the poem. I think. I don't remember. I've studied Arabic literature back in high school, but my memory's a bit foggy. But I remember my teacher had mentioned how it's like like poets deliberately don't explain what they mean because they want the people to be mysterious, because mystery is what makes people want to hear more.
Okay. So what is so you see it as a part of the art you're making. So mystery is a part of it. It's a part of the equation.
Yeah. And part of the
interesting.
character
you were learning new things. So you guys like to keep us confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about others. I'm speaking for myself.
Yes, of course. Interesting. Really interesting. So, you see a lot of those things in art galleries. Now I want to talk about the art galleries. Do you think they always feed the purpose or what they meant to be doing?
I haven't been too much, and too much is too big of a word. Even I've probably been to 1 or 2 art galleries, maybe an art exhibition, or in Comic-Con. There was the first one that happened in Riyadh, back in 2017, I think, or 18. There were a lot of artists selling their work, and I love that. I think it's nice that people finally have to get together in Saudi. It was amazing seeing it, and I was just sitting there, I don't want to leave. Who cares if the Game of Thrones character is talking outside? I just want to see how people are communicating, and they're sharing their comics, they're sharing their Instagrams. People are getting to know them more. That's the beauty of it. Now, art galleries probably, I assume that it used to serve the same purpose, where people would get to know other artists and stuff. The one I went to were for students who were expressing themselves, and they were kind of being recruited by companies and things for their own individual career paths, and I found that very beautiful because every section was different. There you had the fashion area where it's people made out of plastics and things, dresses or a statue, and then you have others where it's the whole room was an art piece, and then projectors. I loved it.
So you think it's a necessity for art expression? It's something that we need to have.
No, we don't need. Humans need to feed each other. Humans need health. We don't need art. It's nice to have it. We want it.
We don't need art.
We don't need art.
It's not something that we have to
No. I this is my perspective.
Yes, of course. Some people, that's what I'm trying to dig. I want your perspective.
Oh, okay. Because a lot of people tell you, I can't live without art. I breathe art. I get it. I appreciate art. Art played a big role in my life. I see how it is very interesting. But to say that it is the necessity as a human being, no, there's much more other important things that we need to continue living. And
sometimes the idea comes out where art is not really a necessity. We can live without art. For artists who have worked their whole lives for this thing they're working on, and they basically depend financially on what they're doing, they make a living out of this talent, or sometimes it's a gift, even in severe cases. Sometimes you see it, it's a real gift.
What do you mean severe cases? I've been giving gifts, handmade gifts all my life.
No, a talent. Yeah. It's a really strong talent, something that you don't see anywhere. And those people, they don't just stop at that. They work so much to develop that gift they have, or the talent they have, because they want to make a living out of it. But again, comes the point where art is not something that we have to it's not something that we have to live with. It's not a necessity. Obviously gives them a lot of underappreciation. How do you think that affects them as artists?
Okay. Again, if you take your art as a career path, I feel like I'm contradicting myself here. Give me a second. So
no, it's okay. You're putting the pieces together. That's normal. Just
so if let's say we don't have mediums of art, we don't have clay, we don't have paint, we don't have the digital medium. What we're looking for is food and survival society, because you need to survive. And then we go back to the human instinct and primitive of wanting to maintain the human race and yada, yada, yada. But given the opportunity that you could utilize something you've learned, a skill, to manage to survive, that becomes your own your own tool to survive, and therefore it is a necessity for you. back in the day, artists were poor. Like, not all of them. Most of them were barely finding oil paints and going to royalties or hire people to draw them portraits. And in the end, the reason why portraits existed is to leave on a legacy. And then you have some people who would sculpt, as I mentioned, not now, but like mixing times. I mentioned like how certain people would utilize sculpting, which is a skill, a form of art, to pray and to practice their own religion, such as Hindus, such as the God, I forgot, what were they called?
I would continue the word, but
it's the people who like budu, like they would
praise.
Yes, praise and pray and worship is the word. Yeah, worship other multiple deities, right? Like Ayam al-Qurashi. So it's like polytheology, I think. So the idea,
that word,
whatever
that word that she means.
I think I'm right. Okay. What I'm saying is that to each their own. Then people who use religion as a form of like power, and then that you use that, and then you have Michelangelo, and then the churches, and then and then people who use art to make beautiful buildings to castles, and it became part of like our life.
So you think
it's inescapable now?
Before it wasn't, but now it's something that we have to live with.
To a core, we don't. So we don't have to like pressure ourselves to accept it or to do it. But in general, I think it is. Yeah.
You also mentioned something about mental health earlier. I know you wanted to talk about that. So here, you're given.
I given the chance.
You have the mic.
It made me realize, like, it's not directly, but indirectly, it made me realize that I needed some mental help, like help with my mental health.
Because of art.
When I noticed that I'm no longer enjoying it, I'm just drawing because I have to draw. And when I realized that I'm getting more stressed about drawing than actually enjoying it, I was like, something's wrong here. So it's like, it's a very interesting kind of experience. Like, some people tell you that I use art as a therapy method to relax. For me, it was the thing that made me even more stressed. It's like, why can't I do this? I'm not perfect. I'm not,
So the stress came from the fact that you're unable to come up with something. I want to know where that stress came from. Like
general life circumstances.
Okay.
It was more of like study-wise struggling, things like that. When you think of yourself in a negative light, it amplifies. And using art was kind of like the devil's way. And I use devil, but I mean like the disease, but right? Okay, so then like the devil's way of creeping into something you really like. It's like, even this thing that everybody says you're good at, you're horrible at. And I hated it for a while. I stopped drawing from 10th year, my 10th year in 11th year in high school up until university. Even in uni, I would draw only for the sake of like work. By work I mean like club. And then I started liking it back in like after I repeated the
how did you get over those feelings, or like the fact that you weren't good enough or something like that, those things that hunted you? How did you get over that?
I still don't. No, but like it improved a lot after you evaluate yourself, after you evaluate the people you're around, after you realize that maybe it's how I'm interpreting life. Of course, getting professional help, that actually helped a lot. That was a struggle, finding a decent person here who would understand you and the way you think and wouldn't assume that you're doing something wrong in terms of. Let's not get too much into it because it's also related to a very sensitive topic, but once you talk and having a proper supportive community or a set of people around you, I'm very passionate about mental health, so it's like constantly researching of ways to utilize it, giving myself a break from drawing, and then allowing myself to relax and just enjoy, not care about grades anymore, just pass. That helped. And then on top of that, I started watching shows again. I started watching movies, looking into artworks and seeing other artists, and that kind of ignited the fire. It's like, oh, I want to draw now again. So it was a really nice feeling.
So you just got into it,
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah.
Well, I think you should definitely keep doing what you're doing. Mashallah, like, it would be.
Join us. Join us.
I wish I could. I just don't have that, man.
You do. You just don't know it.
Okay, so again, with everything that we said, we talked about a lot of things and how it changed you as a person and things before that. How did that play a role in your, career in medicine or your studying portion of medicine?
Okay. Contrary to popular belief, you've seen those pictures where people draw on their hands the anatomy and go like, that's time consuming. Drawing these things, man, it wastes so much time.
So you didn't use that for
no
art.
No art on, like, I tried. It's really time consuming.
I mean, the imagination you have right now,
but
that definitely played a role.
That played a role.
Yeah.
One experience I could give an example is, and we've talked about it together, it's in pre-med. I was given the chance to give a lecture about brachial plexus, which to me as a student was horrible to understand. Like, well, what do you mean in brachial plexus, right? But after studying neuro and then having this kind of like imagination thing, and it's like, you don't really need to know the area of where, like, exactly how. I used to think, that for understanding medicine, you need to visualize the details of the anatomy, right? And that's not really the case. You just need to know generally where they are in the body. Even that is still harder. I make it sound easier than it is, but I managed to, like, put in graphs and things and animate it in a way because I like animation and that I think is easier to understand. And I like to believe I've gotten some positive feedbacks, and I'd like to believe that it did help people to understand the brachial plexus.
You mentioned neuro. I wish you helped me when I was doing neuro.
Oh, neuro
just
was
finished it.
Amazing. I loved it.
I missed it. It's okay. Hadeel, I don't have any more. This was really interesting. Like, I could go with this for hours and hours. But now I want you to tell me, what would you like us to take away from this whole conversation? Is there like a one thing message that you want to put out? Any misconceptions about art that you want us to have corrected?
Anyone could do it. It's not something that you have to be talented about. There's no such things like, oh, I need the talent. I'm not talented like you are. If you really like something, do it. As cliche as it sounds, it's like nowadays utilize the tools that the modern times and technologies have provided. Like, definitely. Don't say, no, I need to do it. Don't do my mistake. And generally, not just with art or anything. Ask questions, go to people, learn from them. Even just a tiny skill, like if you think that math or geography in first grade was useless, trust me, it's not. It could help you in any way. Wow. But don't waste your time on the little details. I like to, if you like to, go ahead. But if you want to go in a certain point, learn from people and utilize the tools. Like, really, there's a tool for anything. So, yeah, just a little research. Yeah.
That's just beautiful thing to say.
You're beautiful.
Hadeel, thank you so much. I enjoyed this a lot. And we really appreciate you coming here and having this conversation with us.
I appreciate you guys having me here. It's really nice. Of course. It's a nice conversation. I love the things you prepared.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking by. I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. And again, don't forget to reach us on the email with your feedbacks, recommendations, or anything that you would like us to know about. And see you with another episode, inshallah.